Now, many youth clubs and services had to close when the UK went into lockdown in March. Now there are fears lots of them will never reopen.
The education charity, the National Youth Agency, has told this programme that permanent closures will mean hundreds of thousands of young people will go without vital services. Here's Tim Muffet.
Since it first opened in the 60s, Honour Oak Youth Club in South London has had a huge impact.
It reaches out to young people who need to be reached out to, people who need our help and engagement. So I think this place is really important because it's like a second home to a lot of the young people.
I love it because it gets to mix with different boys from multiple different age groups, and it lets us socialise with people not from just our school.
I can express my feelings and meet new friends, and I can do what I love, which is dancing, drawing.
When it was closed, you really didn't know what to do, and we were probably all stuck on our phones.
Having been shut for months because of lockdown, the centres just reopened with new restrictions.
We would normally see in the summer about 150 young people coming through the doors on each site, but the restrictions mean that we can only see 15 in bubbles. We are turning children away at the door, which is very difficult because you have to explain to them why adults can go to pubs, but we have to turn them away at the door at youth clubs.
For most indoor activities, those aged over 11 also need to wear face coverings. But of the 10,000 or so youth projects in England, at least this one has reopened. The National Youth Agency, an educational charity, fears 1 in 5 will remain permanently closed.
We're seeing around 1 million young people who are missing from youth services this year who would have been engaged in activities this time last year. Youth centres and youth projects, I hear so often from young people, are the one place that they feel safe. So the loss of that one point in your life can be absolutely devastating.
What do you fear will happen unless something changes pretty quickly?
We're going to have a lost generation of young people who don't feel they've got a stake in society, who don't feel that our politicians, that our public services are for them and take them seriously.
During a typical year, more than 80% of a young person's waking hours are spent outside of school. Weekends, holidays, they all add up. So whilst understandably there's been a lot of attention on reopening schools in September, many fear places like this are being overlooked.
We've lost a lot of income because we have money from the council until March. We're not sure what's going to happen after that. But we also rely on income that we raise from rentals. So our sites we rent out for weddings and functions and community events, all that has gone. The government have bailed out other industries. They haven't got a plan for youth services that we've heard. I hear there is one coming down the line, but as yet we don't know what's coming down the line. And that was before COVID. Well, we needed to adapt to COVID.
A government spokesperson told the BBC that it is committed to supporting young people in these challenging times. It said that grants are being provided to youth organisations by the National Lottery Community Fund, Sport England and the Arts Council, and that a £500 million youth investment fund will provide long-term investment to youth services. There are huge challenges across the UK. In Scotland, voluntary youth work organisations say they're facing an immediate income loss of more than £20 million. In Wales, although most youth projects say they have been able to provide some form of support, often online, there have been big financial losses of more than £9 million in some cases. The Youth Work Alliance in Northern Ireland say that although new online services have helped, the legacy of COVID risked young people's well-being and required urgent action.
You only get one youth, that's the thing. You only get to live your youth once, and once that's gone, then you're in the world of an adult. And let's be under no illusions, this pandemic's going to run on for another year plus, and young people are going to be the hardest hit. But most of the focus is on older generations, because that's where the death rate tends to be, but actually young people down here are being completely forgotten.
For many, it is a bleak picture. Tim Muffet, BBC News.